Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate with the page you are currently listening to me on muted, simply click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. In a moment, I'm going to transition straight across to the Hangout as we do have our first guest in there. But in the meantime, if you are currently in the live stream, please share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. And with that, I'll say our first hello to Sleeping Warrior. How you doing, Sleeping Warrior? Good to have you here.
Yo, yo.
Hello.
While you share you may as well go and do the sharey thing and then give me like 2 minutes to make an admission.
Okay.
This morning, you go and share and I'll talk. This morning's show, as far as I was concerned, didn't go live. It didn't quite happen, or it might have happened or didn't happen or whatever. And I'm admitting to the world right now that I did in fact snipe Curved Water, Jeremy, Lottie Says, and Paul Voigt. And as far as I was concerned, the show did not go live. It may have been restreamed somewhere else. I didn't know about that. As far as I was concerned, it was offline. But I only did it because Jeremy claimed that he was being honest when he was trying to correctly interpret the meaning of words. But when I do that same thing, I'm considered to be semantical. So it appears that there's two different sets of rules. There's a set of rules that apply to flat earthers, and there's a set of rules that apply to Jeremy or ball earthers. And I cried foul because that's moving the goalposts and it's dishonestly applying the bandwagon fallacy in order to get a victory. If you're going to correctly interpret the meaning of words, I'm entitled to do it too. If I'm not allowed to correctly interpret the meaning of words, Jeremy's not allowed to do it too. So that's my admission.
Hi, Sniper on deck. Good to have you here. Good start to the show. You gotta laugh.
Interesting. So there's my admission. I have atoned for my sins, but as far as I was concerned, it wasn't even live. Even though I think John Watson did restream it. As far as I was concerned, it wasn't even live. So.
Yeah, snipers galore. How you doing, Jibby Jedi? Or Jibby Jedi Sniper? Fun to have you here.
Hey, Nathan. I just thought I'd share this with you.
What's that?
Let me put my camera up. Put my camera on. Oh, is it on? Oh.
Nope, just a red screen.
It's because it's selected the wrong camera. Hang on. If I've got an ice cream in my hand, Jeremy, how many ice creams have I got in my hand? I have an ice cream in my hand, so the answer is 1. But if I don't have any ice creams in my hand, and Nathan doesn't have any ice creams in his hand, the answer is 0. But on this occasion, I do have an ice cream in my hand, so therefore the answer would be 1. Difference between if and real world.
Yep, diabetes.
Get in my belly.
Very real world problem.
Yeah, first world problems as well. Did you hear about the car park that went on fire at the Liverpool Echo Arena in Liverpool?
Nope, I don't have a TV. I don't watch news.
It was on New Year's Eve, and it was somewhere between 1,200 and 1,400 cars. Every single car inside the car park got destroyed because a very old Land Rover Defender for some reason burst into flames. Don't know exactly the ins and outs of it, but all the cars were destroyed. Car park didn't have a sprinkler system, even though it was a brand new car park. Apparently, there's no rules that require them to have sprinkler systems because there's no threat to life, apparently, even though there was animals in cars that people had stupidly left dogs and cats in cars and stuff. Anyway, every car got destroyed, like 1,200 cars. And they're arguing over who should be, which insurance company should pay out. Should it be the Land Rover Defender, which was like the really old farmers agricultural style one? Should the insurance company of that one car pay for everybody's because he started the fire, or should everybody claim on themselves because it is actually an accident and they're all arguing over the ins and outs of it? It's great.
I don't know if they still do that. Fire and theft only. Do you remember that?
Yeah, third party fire and theft.
Exactly.
So what's all right? So what's the name of this channel so that other people can come to it? Is it the Nathan Oakley one?
Yeah, subscribe today. Nathan space Oakley. This is the backup channel, which will be for the foreseeable future streaming these live streams. They'll then get re-upped on the main channel.
I've not been sniped, Nath.
No?
I haven't been sniped.
I muted you. Slow start.
I wonder why that might be.
Joined by Arwin or Arwin Sniper. How you doing? Arwin Sniper.
Arwin Sniper it was.
Was.
Snipe, snipe, snipe.
I mean, you and I have been chatting with Chris, and it's been probably the most exciting past few days in, I know it's 2018 now, but certainly in 2017, the most exciting moments were with the Isle of Man. And while a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, some people have been saying, I'm sick of hearing about the Isle of Man. It's like, well, unfortunately, for the people bored of it, it's turning out to be possibly the most amazing piece of flat earth evidence that you'll ever see, and this will roll on longer. So if you're really bored of the Isle of Man, tough, you're going to be seeing a lot more of it, because it is superb flat earth evidence, and I do mean that hand on heart.
And the best thing was it was found accidentally. It wasn't found intentionally, it was found accidentally, and it's repeatable, it's observable, repeatable, verifiable. It can be done again, and I've got every intention of getting up there and doing it again. So yeah, it is going to be. Hi, Tim.
Hello. Good
Howdy.
to
How are you doing this fine evening? Crisp, cold evening.
It's actually 12 where I am at the moment in the afternoon. Just had a quick question for you. I heard the other day you talking about the double slit experiment. Now, when it comes to Anthony Riley and people that have claims, they must prove it basically very practically. Your claim is that can't be a particle because there's no mass.
Correct.
So how much research have you actually done into this subject?
Well, it was one of the first things I found when I came into Flat Earth, and then I took it on with a pinch of salt. And then I was watching a discussion with Ali B and Mark Taylor and Jeremy. And Ali B was saying, basically, he was rhetorically asking, what is light? Is it a particle or is it a wave? And they said initially it was a particle. And he said, but then it must have some mass. And then they said, well, it doesn't have mass because it's a particle, but it behaves like a wave. And he said, but you can't have it behaving like a wave. It's either a particle or it's a wave, but it can't be both at the same time. So then I began to remind myself, he's applying the double slit experiment. And Nathan and I had a quick chat about it the other day. Mm-hmm. And Nathan said that, well, it's an extremely contentious discussion point. And basically you will lose because the current physics accepts that light is a particle. If that's the correct recollection of Nathan's words, and I'm sure he won't mind me quoting him. But on the other hand, it behaves like a wave. So it appears to be completely contradictory. So I wanted an update from Nathan. What is the current position? And it is a particle, but it has no mass. So it's not really a particle. So really, I'm in a state of confusion. So I'm curious to know what is your current position as well, Tim? Is light a particle? Is it a wave? Or is it some kind of something else?
It actually really doesn't matter to me because I do understand that it's a theory either way. But the problem is that what I think is going on here is that you and others in the conspiracy realm are basically anti-mainstream. Can just go with anything that's anti-mainstream. So what you said was, unfortunately, when you look into the double slit experiment, it proves that it's not a particle. And basically, I'm just wondering, do you know what a photon is?
I know what it's told. I know what they tell me a photon is.
Okay.
ADMP Mars,
So
good to
do
have
they
you.
say that a photon has no mass?
A photon has no mass.
Zero
Sorry to
mass.
interrupt, guys. I know
Even
you're
when
actually
it's
particle
traveling.
physics, but I just want to say a quick
It has
hello
no
to
mass.
Pete. Sorry. How you doing, Pete? Candy, you're on mute.
Hi.
Good to have you here.
So what have you done to prove anything about this experiment? And why do you accept it as truth?
Well, it wasn't a case of accepting it as truth. It was more a case of pointing out the contradiction over light being a particle that I was observing, pointing out, because light is claimed to be traveling in straight lines when it comes to refraction. Oh, sorry, light appears to be traveling in straight lines when it comes to eclipses, solar eclipses and stuff. But when it comes to refraction, it's all over the place. It curves all over the Earth. So all down, always down, but no straight lines, no bending up. So my point, I was reconsidering the light discussion after Ali B's discussion with Mark Taylor and co. And it dawned on me that every time I've had the conversation with refraction, they always seem to start with the line, do we agree that light travels in straight lines? And I'm thinking, So it was more a case of refamiliarizing myself with what the current science is with regards to what light actually is. And as far as I'm aware, it's a particle, yet it has no mass. It behaves like a wave, and really it's more confusing than anything. However, there is the double slit experiment, which was performed by a particular guy, and he showed that the wave, what did he call it now? The something wave theory. He proved that the something wave theory is actually a thing, meaning that light fits comfortably into this juxtaposition where it's neither a particle nor a wave, but it behaves like a wave and a particle depending on what position you take from it. And if you watch it observantly, it changes its behavior because your eyes seem to be some kind of electromagnetic sensor that affects the way that the light works, which I find crazy. But what it seems to be the case is that it just confuses people more than it does correct people. So if you know something that we don't know on the flat Earth side, Tim, feel free, educate us.
Does a particle have to have mass? Is it intrinsically inside of the... Okay. So does a photon have to have mass?
Yes. If it's a particle, yes.
Okay. Now, my next set of questions would be the Cavendish experiment. I can also bring up what was said the other day, but I'm sure you can just go ahead and talk about it. So have you guys ever tried to replicate the Cavendish experiment?
I've tried to do it, but I'm unable to get a significant enough weight suspended from a supporting point for it to be working. I've never managed to get it working, and any movement I've had, it's because the dog runs past it or something. And then it dawned on me that you need serious equipment, and I don't have the equipment. So it was Riley's failure for the Cavendish experiment, I'm afraid. I failed to get a credible experiment that I could persuade myself. And then I resorted to researching it on the likes of Google and YouTube to see what other people had did. And it appears to be both confusing because a Cavendish experiment, just like the double slit experiment, appears to suggest one thing, that we have gravity and balls of massive weight will attract each other towards each other. But then also there's lots of videos that show that when you put two big heavy objects of balls next to each other, guess what? They don't do anything. They sit there and they just don't move. And the valuation, or the observed measurement for the movement, was a value that was given at 0.000000006. And apparently that value is consistent between all the so-called Cavendish experiments, all 14 of them cited on Wikipedia. And I think that value is disproportionately, ridiculously insignificant. I would even use the word negligible. So my question then becomes, well, how is this thing being measured if it's such a small value? And it comes back to the point that it seems to do nothing but confuse. But it's cited to be proof of gravity, bro. And on that basis, I find it highly incredible that there is a citation for gravity when it is so imprecise and difficult to repeat. And you need the measuring device that was used to measure the 0.000000006 value. I mean, what the hell is that? It's ridiculously small, and it could have been caused by a moth farting over the other side of the room. So it's not.
Is there any other experiments that validate the Cavendish experiment, modern day experiments?
If there was, I'd be on the ball Earth side.
So you're saying there's nothing that validates the Cavendish experiment
Not that I'm aware
other
of.
than the Cavendish experiment?
I've not seen anything. Joe, do you mean like, no, I've not seen anything that validates the Cavendish experiment. Doesn't mean there isn't one out
Okay,
there.
well,
I just don't know there is one.
Yeah, you should do some research into that. So, also, do you think that they just kind of
okay,
willy-nilly?
So let me
No,
call you on
I'm not even getting
what do
into
you
it.
know that
I'm not
supports the
even getting
Cavendish?
into it.
Oh, right.
I'm not
Okay,
getting
so,
into it.
but
Yeah.
you do
So,
realize
do
there's
you
some
think
new
that there's
asserts.
any applicability? Do you think there's any applicability to this Cavendish experiment, or do you think it's just them trying to prove the that mass attracts mass? So, in other words, in the solar system, do you think that there's any applicability that this value has, big G, at all?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was my line of questioning. I rest my case.
No further questions, Your Honor. Anyway, PMAS, what can you not prove for us today?
I have the Cavendish experiment on my channel.
Anything to add today? Anything interesting, PMAS?
Oh yeah, so I look at Yahoo News, like front page, right?
Sure.
That's where I get my propaganda information. So like
probably more truth on Yahoo front page than there is in the mainstream media, to be honest.
I actually like to read the celebrity news, and if you read in between the lines, you can kind of like learn some stuff. But so like the front page article was about Kyrie Irving and flat Earth, and I guess like Nike unveiled Kyrie's new basketball shoe, and they put it like hovering above a flat Earth model or something. I had a picture of it. So continues, the biggest conspiracy continues to get mainstream media coverage for some reason.
Maybe people are waking up. Maybe it's a representation of people realizing that we don't appear to be able to provide any credible, observable, repeatable, verifiable evidence of curvature, axial rotation, or gravity. That's about it, really. I mean, how much further can it go? Then three elements are the fundamental principal core values of the ball Earth model in which we live. So far, I've not seen any evidence that's persuasive that we are actually spinning, orbiting anything, having some kind of magic force that we can't observe. I'm not seeing any of that. I see there's a lot of claims being made by science, and when you try and validate them, you need crazy amounts of equipment to measure stuff that's as imprecise as or insignificant or even negligible of a value that's claimed to be 0.000000006. I mean, that's minute. It goes beyond negligible. It's so far beyond negligible, it becomes micro surgery and kind of thing. Anyway.
No, I don't understand how you can dispute empirical observations that show us to be on a spinning sphere.
Like alrighty, so Timmy Osmond back with another line of questioning due to Anthony Riley's new assertion. So there's no evidence of axial rotation. Now, is there no evidence because you don't understand the two celestial points argument and the celestial sphere argument?
How does that actually prove the shape of the Earth?
How does it prove the shape of the Earth? How does it not prove the shape of the Earth? Because you don't understand it, obviously.
If I look into the sky and see a plane flying by, I can make no assertions to the vehicle that I'm in when I look up at the sky. So why would I look at the sky and go, oh, I see a rotation point above me in the north, and assuming that I'm on the equator, I see another rotation point below me in the south, and they both appear to support the idea that I'm on a sphere, but actually they could just be two spinning plates above my head, and I just don't know whether I'm on a sphere or not.
Okay, yeah, it's Anthony Riley's spinning plate model. I can't wait to see the applicability, Nathan, that is a word actually, to our reality therein. So, Anthony, whatever your name is, I'm just wondering.
Don't sweat him.
I didn't. I actually
Refrained.
bleeped
Only
myself
just.
out.
Yeah.
So, where in life, I guess, in any of our reality that we share together on this spherical Earth, do we travel a certain distance, whether it be in a warehouse or in a car? And where do we not see, I guess you could say, a relative or a completely equal movement of distance? So, in other words, the celestial sphere is mapped around the spherical Earth, right? So you can move 69 miles and it will have 1 degree of change. So why wouldn't we think why do you think something different? Why can't this is a stupid flat Earth argument, truthfully. It's just a
Okay.
complete ridiculous argument, but go ahead.
Okay. If you can prove that the stars move by 1 degree every 69 miles for the duration,
I don't need to prove it.
Well, you're asserting it.
No,
Isn't
if
it
you're really a
international-
researcher,
No, no.
if you're really a researcher and you're trying to
You just
figure
said-
out if the Earth is a sphere or not, and if you want to have an argument about how the stars mean nothing to the ground that we're on, even though it matches with the latitude and longitude system, then you should go out and prove that, because that's your assertion, is it not?
You're the one that asserts that the stars appear to move by 1 degree every 69 miles. I'd like to see the evidence that is true. I look up and see the stars moving in circular patterns, and that's if I do long exposure photography using something like a P900, for example. However, that doesn't tell me that the stars move by 1 degree every 69 miles of traversing. And I think I would be correct.
I never said that it would. You're saying,
No.
oh, I do time lapse, and I'm telling you, you move 69 miles. It's actually in complete reference to 25,000 miles in circumference spherical Earth. Okay.
Oh, so you're basing
It's
it on
exactly
mathematics,
what you would expect to see, and it fits.
Dude,
It's not
it
just
fits
math.
empirically.
It's also based on navigation, which is real.
Yeah, but I'm asking, do we see it, or is it simply calculated for?
We really navigate based off the calculations and the navigation.
Prove me wrong. Prove astronomy wrong, Riley. This is set in stone because
You're
the
one that
stars
claims
really.
that there's 1 degree of movement.
No. I came
miles.
on first of all, Anthony, and asked you about there being no evidence of axial rotation, and then I said the star trails, obviously there being 2 celestial points, and you bring up how does that prove the shape of the Earth?
Yes.
Okay, so we had to go into that little tangent, but what I just said was, wouldn't that be evidence of axial rotation? Doesn't matter if it's geocentric or heliocentric. How not? How not?
If you were lay on the top of a Chinook helicopter and you were sat in between the 2 blades spinning, and you looked up to one corner and down to the other corner, you would see 2 rotation points, and you lay on the top of a Chinook. That does not mean that you're on top of a ball. How would you tell
that has nothing to do with what empirically it means to have 2 celestial points. When you're facing south and in the southern hemisphere, you can see the southern crux, or Sigma Octantis, somewhat near it, octans. Now, when you're in the northern hemisphere and looking north and high enough in latitude, you can look north and see Polaris. That has nothing to do with a Chinook, has nothing to do with plates in the sky. The point is that it works on a spherical model. Not only that, it works in conjunction with the latitude and longitude system. So if we were trying to debunk the spherical model, we need to go out and disprove it.
Okay, and I've asked you to prove that we move 1 degree every 69
I'm not going
miles.
to prove things to Anthony Riley, okay? I'm not here to prove things to Anthony Riley.
But you're asserting, and you're the one claiming that 69 miles, we get 1 degree. I'm asking you to prove that point because I don't believe it's true. I'm a flat earther, and I'm dumb. However, I'm entitled to ask for evidence to make assertions to be proved. Now, if you can't prove it,
I like how now you call yourself a flat earther. But you remember how many times I've asked you in the past if you're a flat earther? Oh no, I just know it's not a ball, and now you're saying, oh, I'm a flat earther and I'm dumb, and you're just ridiculous, dude. Anyway, so you guys have the extraordinary claim. You guys have the extraordinary claim.
What's that?
that the Earth is flat because
No,
of
my
one
claim is that the Earth's
observation
not a
from my
ball
old man.
of 24,970 miles. I don't assert that the Earth's
So
flat because I can't prove it. And
when
I've
there are
openly
millions
said
of
that many
people,
times.
when there are millions of people in separate fields that literally corroborate this, you guys have the extraordinary claim. Okay, there are no scientists. All it is a bunch of conspiracy theorists on the internet, maybe a
Yeah.
few thousand, if that
Yeah.
believe the Earth is flat. Okay,
No.
you guys
We don't all believe
have
the Earth's
the
flat.
extraordinary claim.
I'm not against the idea that the Earth could be geocentric, but if it is, it's the size of Jupiter. I've said that many times. I have not changed my position. I realize that we cannot prove it's flat because we cannot see all the way down to the beach, if want to phrase Alex better than this. However, you're the one that's making the assertions that all these scientists and all that, and I'm asking you to prove it. If you're not prepared to prove it, that's fine. However, I'm
here to not prove anything to Anthony Riley. I'm completely rhetorically based, and I love it. Okay, because really in this subject,
so
I love it. I love it. I'm not. I have cameras. I have drones. I have all types of equipment that I've never used for any of this because this is an absolutely silly subject. And if I did, I would just be sound lead.
I know you want to go on about how silly it is.
everything.
I will give you a chance to go on about how silly flat Earth is, Tim, I promise. But we've been joined by a new guest. How you doing, Paul? Good to have you here. You're on mute at the moment. Still on mute.
Hiya, can you hear me okay?
Good to have you. Excellent sound today.
Pardon?
Excellent sound today. Good to have you. Good. Everything's hunky-dory.
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Pardon?
Can you hear
we
us?
Can hear you loud and clear.
Unfortunately, can you hear me okay?
Sorry, I didn't know you were saying that. Did somebody say unfortunately?
Yeah, this Burke over here, he's got no evidence to make his claims up.
Who said that, sorry? What's his name?
He claims to be, he calls himself Timothy Osman.
I thought this guy wasn't a flat earther yesterday. Now he is.
I think
now he's got a flat earth symbol on his icon and stuff.
I think the BES stands for Ball Earth Skeptic.
Oh yeah, you're a baller skeptic and have a flat earth icon. That's cute.
Yeah, I'm a Ball Earth skeptic.
You guys are a dime a dozen. Seriously, you guys are a freaking dime a dozen. Oh, I'm just questioning the globe, and I'm not a flat earther,
you said
man.
That you didn't have any. You only had rhetorical questions. Do you understand what rhetorical?
I didn't
means?
say I have rhetorical questions. I said I'm completely rhetorically based. Do you understand the difference?
Do you understand what rhetorical means?
Do you understand the difference?
Yes, rhetorically based. I'm asking you. Do you understand what rhetorical means, Tim?
No, I have no idea. I just say things I have no idea, no clue about.
Yeah, but if you're saying assertions and then refusing to provide evidence, that's not being rhetorically based. That's called full of shit.
Then what is it? Oh, okay.
That's making assertions.
And we can't cuss on this unless you're Anthony Riley. He can cuss as much as he'd like because you guys are butt buddies, I guess. You and Nate.
Did somebody swear? I didn't hear any swearing. Did somebody swear?
Yeah, I just said you were full of shit. His name's Anthony Riley.
I did say you were full of shit.
Oh, there's twice.
Yeah, I apologize if that's considered swearing.
No, 3 times.
I apologize if it's considered swearing, but it's not being rhetorical, is it, Tim? A rhetorical position would be...
Oh, shit. Did we get sniped?
No, he might have actually removed him. I think Nathan's gone.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Did you remove him then?
No, I didn't remove him.
There's an International Association of Geodesy, which like maps the Earth reference to the celestial references. By the way.
You still here, Nate?
Yeah, I can hardly hear you, Pete. You've gone really quiet.
See, in this whole conversation, I don't feel it necessary for me to back up any of my claims because my claims actually are corroborated with empirical natural science that people like Dell continue to go on and on about, which really is just his version of it. So what I did at the very beginning was look into what they were saying, what they were telling us, and then go out and test it myself. And anybody can do this. So what I bring is the science that they're telling us, and it's actually true. Okay, when it comes to the Big Bang, when it comes to all this other stuff that can be questionable space time, all this stuff, it's a complete red herring to the objective shape of the Earth. Okay, there are only few observations we can make here on Earth to determine the shape of the Earth, and a lot of it comes down to logical inference. But I've said them all ad nauseum now, and I don't need to prove anything to anyone. We'll see Anthony Riley when he can't even prove the shape of the Earth to himself. Considering he wants to, maybe it's just plates above my head, or maybe it's a Chinook helicopter. It's like, no, dude, if you were honest with yourself, you would understand the point that based on your latitude and longitude, you'll see certain stars. And that fits exactly with what astronomers tell us, with what has been figured out by the ancients for a long time. Okay, it's not just me, Timmy Osmond, saying it. It's millions of people that sit there and look up into the sky. Okay, so you guys go into, the sky can't tell us anything about the shape of the Earth. Well, that's just your ignorance. That's you sticking your head in the sand. That's all.
I'm stupid, remember? I'm only asking for what you consider to be truth.
So, like I said, I'm not going to prove anything to Riley. Anything that I say, people can go out and look into the sky or do themselves. Okay, because I'm knowledgeable at this subject, and I like to talk about the subject. I love logic and reasoning. So that's why that's
an acceptable level of evidence,
come on and talk.
Logic and reason. You sound like Brenda, Tim.
What do you mean? I studied the trivium as a kid.
Logic and reason doesn't prove anything about the shape of the Earth.
I never said it did. Why are you putting me into a straw man?
I'm reciting the words that you said about 10 seconds ago.
Well, logic and reasoning doesn't prove anything about the shape of the Earth. Okay, Riley, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
So why would you be loving logic and reason but have no evidence for anything that you say? You're not going to provide it. Well, what value is there?
Are you going to prove the shape of the Earth without logic and reasoning, Riley?
Absolutely. We're going to determine the shape of the Earth with evidence, Tim. Logic and reason bears no place. It might do in the explanation, but it doesn't.
So you're going to prove the shape of the Earth without logic and reasoning? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. No logic whatsoever.
All right, you heard it here first, folks.
Evidence.
Anthony Riley's going to prove the shape of the Earth without logic and reasoning. Very good.
Absolutely. Right. I would not apply logic and reason on something significant. Be it who did the murder. Let's apply logic and reason. Forget weapons, forget blood splatter analysis, forget DNA. Let's just apply logic and reason. I don't like Tim Osmond. You'll be logical and reasonable to be the one that was sniping everybody. Let's put you down for the murder. There you go. Logic and reason.
You have absolutely no credibility to even flat earthers.
What makes you think you have?
Most flat earthers don't like you, and for good reason. You're a piece of garbage.
What makes you think
you're intellectually dishonest. You put out fail information.
You have.
You put out biased information. You put out.
Yeah, but at least
cherry pick your observations.
I put my neck on the line, don't I? All you're prepared to show is your ankles and your toes.
6 months, 8 months, 10 months that you've been out here.
Yeah.
You have like 5 observations. Okay, the rest have been shoved to the side because they show curvature.
Kind of person, but in reality, you had nothing.
I have the truth. The truth is that we stand on a spherical Earth. No matter how much kicking and screaming or tantrums you guys do, it doesn't matter. You guys are the fools at the end of the day, chasing your tails. It's a fool's errand.
I don't mind being a fool.
Good job.
I don't mind being a fool. I just discuss what we can prove. I don't see any problem.
Yeah, I know you don't mind being a fool because you are one. You are one. You're going to prove the shape of the Earth without logic and reasoning. Well done. Well done.
Because that's what proof is. You need evidence, Tim. And when we see evidence to support a supposition, it makes sense, and then we can accept it.
Oh, you talk so much garbage,
dude. You're not going to produce any evidence. You're just in a state of rhetorical positioning, then tactically that makes you a weak opponent.
No, you're a moron.
Evidence to back up your claims.
You're an absolute
Otherwise, you add nothing to the debate, Timothy.
You're an absolute moron. Okay?
Yeah. But at least I'm a moron with some evidence, Tim. I'd rather be a moron with evidence than a sheep with none.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. It's your subjective opinion towards Timothy Osman, but I don't agree with you. So we both have our opinions at the end of the day, don't we?
That's okay. We all have an opinion, and it's just like bottom holes. We all have one.
Great.
Are you done?
Hello.
Are you?
Hi,
Waiting for
Nathan.
you- Waiting for you to shut the door on the way out, Tim. Hi, Paul. How are you today?
Can you hear me again now?
Yeah, loud and clear, mate.
I don't know what happened then. I was trying to speak, but then it just cut off.
I think it's Gremlins with his...
Yeah, people don't want to hear from a resident of the Isle of Man because it looks very bad.
Yeah, because it
You don't
destroys
want to
their
hear
whole
why?
Been joined by Ina.
Yeah, because we have
Brilliant.
one observation, and
Bear
we
with me
go
a
off of
second,
one
guys. Sorry
observation
to
because
interrupt.
that's
Bear with me.
science.
How you doing,
That's
Ina?
reproducibility. That's repeatability. That's
Sorry,
science.
Tim. Sorry, just want to
Guys are
introduce our new guest. How you doing, Ina? Good
idiots.
to have you here. Hello? Can you hear us? Got about 5 seconds to say something, and then you're getting sniped. Can you hear us, Ina? Can you say hello?
Ding. Ding.
I think he was just literally in to snipe Tim Osman. There's no need to snipe people. Tim Osman's was welcome here as the next man.
Has Tim gone?
I think somebody just joined to snipe him, and there's just no need to snipe people.
No, leave Tim Osman in. If he's in a position of a self-proclaimed rhetorical nature, I want that person in the debate. Keep that
Is
guy
that what
in.
happened to me? Was I sniped as well?
Yeah, you were sniped. Somebody sniped
Oh,
me and you.
I
That's
didn't
why
understand what had happened. I just thought it might have been my connection.
No, it was somebody sniping you because... Well,
Because
you're
I can't
here.
see the live screen anymore. I'm just in Skype now, aren't I?
Yeah. I'll send you the link back for the there's about a 7-second delay on the watch screen. So
Oh, okay.
if, just bear in mind when I send you this back, it's about 5, 6, 7 seconds behind what's really happening in this conversation. So in the side chat now, you should have a link. Just click that, open it up in a separate window, and then you should be able to see the watch page again.
Just make sure you mute it. On the actual watch page, there's a mute button. Just make sure you click that.
Okay.
I suppose I could do a link, as we've got a little natural gap in the conversation. I'll turn you guys down for a second. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves.
This is the bit where he's doing the link.
So, if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate to express your views on the shape of the Earth, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click on the link in the info box below this video. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. With that, I'll pass you back to the action and say one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Found this article on physicsworld.com. Laser gyroscope measures the Earth's wobble. An international team of...
They can't even measure its rotation. What chance do you think they've got of measuring its wobble? Come on. Go on, let's cite it. Present your screen and let's see it.
How do you know they can't measure the rotation? Do you have evidence for that?
Yeah, the evidence is that they don't have any evidence. I know they have ring laser gyros. This is another claim of Timothy Osman's. Well, the ring laser gyroscopes are susceptible to the electromagnetic interference of the environment in which it's in. And to date, a ring laser gyroscope has never been repeated outside of an electromagnetic field. Therefore, all experiments that have been done in a magnetic field are simply observing and recording the effects of the electromagnetic field on the ring laser gyroscope itself. Not proving any curvature, rotation, or any of that kilter. It's simply producing the effects of the electromagnetic interference that it's being susceptible to. Sorry, go on.
Do you think the evidence of absence is... Oh, wait, I fucked that up. I screwed that up. Do you think the absence of evidence is evidence of absence?
Yes, absolutely. Absence of evidence means that any claim based on that absence of evidence fails because you can't prove it to be true. Therefore, it's merely a story, and if accepted to be true, it's nothing more than a belief. A belief, by definition, is susceptible to challenge because it's a belief. It's like believing in, for example, but not limited to God, Allah, Muhammad, Virgin Mary, or any of the other generally accepted gods.
Well, this says an international team of researchers have developed a new type of gyroscope that is the first to measure the wobble in the rotational axis of the Earth from a ground-based laboratory. Astronomers normally track this wobble by continuously monitoring the position of distant objects such as quasars. But this new method will provide a much simpler and cheaper alternative to these large-scale astronomical readings, scientists claim. The International Association of Geodesy, which was involved in this effort, maintains the terrestrial and celestial reference frames, which form an essential basis for navigation and the study of the Earth. So there's like an International Association of Geodesy, which is constantly studying terrestrial and celestial reference frames so people can navigate the Earth. So like if they were lying about the shape of the Earth, you would think people wouldn't be able to navigate the Earth. Since people can navigate the Earth, that's pretty strong evidence to support, the globe. The terrestrial reference frame is relevant to an observer on the Earth's surface. For example, it describes why the sun appears to be rising and setting every day when we know that it is the Earth itself that rotates. The celestial reference frame, based at the center of the solar system, is calculated using 212 distant astronomical bodies such as quasars, and it is used to determine the position of all the planets, including the Earth.
Big shout out to Fanny Lancer for the
So,
super
like,
chat. Thanks a million.
They're constantly like mapping out the celestial sphere to the Earth, and just
Sure.
like Tim was saying, like definitely not flat. It's definitely a sphere. So.
Bloody hell, £33.33 from Fanny Lancer. Fair play, Fanny Lancer. All right, let me share my screen. Are you done there, by the way, P. Mars?
Yeah.
If you want to share, you need to give me a few moments to do this. So give me maybe 45 seconds, a minute.
Okay. Oops, that's the wrong one. I want to share. Which is the screen I need to share? It's not that one. It's this one.
Fuck.
Try not to swear, P. Mars. I know you're not even even talking to anybody.
I was reading the
literally
chat,
when you're not even
out
talking
loud.
to somebody, you can't but help swear.
I was reading Fanny's donation.
It's about $50. That's quite a lot of money. Fair play, Fanny.
Amazing.
Lancer.
I was timing him out yesterday for spamming, and today he's giving me a super chat donation. Amazing. Thank you very much, Fanny Lancer. Really appreciate it. Okay. With a bit of luck, can I just get a confirmation from P. Mars that you can see what's on screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Brilliant.
All right, here's a website telling us about Godzilla. Godzilla is a character that first appeared in Ishiro Honda's 1954 film Godzilla and became a worldwide pop culture icon, appearing in media, including 29 films. Somebody that's done all these films, Godzilla is fantastic, right? So if you're saying that the axial rotation exists, I'm claiming that Godzilla exists. And here's the evidence.
I agree.
That's that then. We have a tilt of the Earth, and we have Godzilla. Thanks, Nathan.
Have you not seen a Godzilla movie? They're pretty good.
Yeah, they are. Does it prove he exists? Is real?
Sure. How would they make a movie if Godzilla didn't exist?
Exactly.
How could you even think of the name Godzilla if it didn't exist? There's a guy dressed up in a suit, right? And that's Godzilla. And he's on a movie set. And you just proved it existed.
No, Godzilla's real.
Wikipedia article.
Godzilla's real. What are you talking about, man?
He is.
Yeah.
He's a real guy dressed up in a rubber suit on a movie set.
I'm just going to search Wikipedia for the Loch Ness Monster. I'm not sure if he's real. Let me see if Loch Ness Monster exists.
That's real too.
Loch Ness Monster, yep, definitely according to Loch Ness, according to Wikipedia, Loch Ness Monster is also a real thing. Oh no,
You know, the guy.
It says the Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, is an aquatic being which reputedly inhabits Loch Ness in the Scottish Highlands. It is similar to other supposed lake monsters in Scotland and elsewhere, often described as being large in size with a long neck and one or more humps protruding from the water. Popular interest, yeah, Loch Ness Monster exists as well, it would appear.
Been joined by Mark Taylor. How you doing, Mark? Good to have you here.
Yo, what's up, Nathan?
Sky,
Mark.
sun, moon,
How are you doing
usual
today,
stuff.
Hi, Mark.
How are you doing today, Mark?
Hold on, can you all shut up while Mark talks, just so I can get his mic same as everyone else's? Say just a couple more words, Mark.
Yeah, Riley's a fat mong.
Riley's a fat mong. That's not very nice. Come on, play
How are you
nice.
doing, Mark Taylor?
Well, you didn't ask me to say anything nice, you just asked me to say a few words.
We've also been joined by Epistemology
Anyway,
for
I'll come
Truth.
into-
How you doing,
anyway, I'll come
Epistemology?
That's fair enough,
Hold on, don't start round just yet. Hold on. Epistemology, how you doing? Good to have you here.
Anyway,
Hello.
I came in just to clarify a few things, verify what Tim was saying about the stars moving 1 degree. Anyone with an equatorial mount knows that Polaris moves 1 degree every 69 miles. Because the whole point of an equatorial mount is to stop field rotation when you're taking long exposures. So if you don't get a
prove that the
perfect
equatorial mount is doing what you're saying it's doing,
alignment,
it's
you
not
won't
simply
get-
computing
you
it
won't
based on
get
an
proper
algorithm.
pictures. So my latitude's 50 degrees, so I have to input 50 degrees into my equatorial mount to make sure that when I do polar alignment, that I do not get field rotation. Anyone
Yeah, but
on any other latitude can verify what latitude that they put into their equatorial mount to position Polaris perfectly in their thing, and you'll find that it's 1 degree every 69 miles.
So when you use
quite
a
easy to
telescope, Mark, and
verify that.
Polaris, the sun disappears off over the horizon, and it's the end
But
of
Mark,
our day.
have you considered Godzilla isn't real? You ever think about that?
No, I didn't think
No,
thanks for
Godzilla
bringing
and
that to my
Loch Ness
attention.
are real.
I can give that consideration.
So, Mark,
I
when you
learned
see the
about
sun
that.
disappearing off over the sunset, and the perception is that it's going on the other side of the round, spherical, natured Earth, and you watch your equatorial mount telescope reset itself, and it goes round in a circle, round back to the point where it starts, ready for the next day, assuming that's how you've got it set up to do. If the telescope didn't go round and underneath on a ball shaped, and it went back the way that it came from the beginning of the day and reset like a windscreen wiper, would you still claim that it was resetting itself, subject to the movement of the sun, or would you merely say it's resetting itself?
So what are you trying to say? If I set my scope up to track the sun,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, if I set my scope up to track the sun, then it'd get to
Yeah.
a certain point on the horizon, because the sun can't go below the horizon on the flat Earth, and it'd stay there until the sun come and started changing its degrees of arc again, wouldn't it? But that's not what happens. When you set your scope up to track the sun over a 24-hour period, the scope will go into the ground. It keep going into the ground until it goes back round to the side east where the sun rises.
What I'm asking you is, if the telescope resets itself and did it laterally going round in a circle, or did it going back the way it just come from?
The scope won't reset itself. If I pick a star in the sky and I tell my scope to track that star, it will continuously track it for as long as the battery runs on the scope. If the battery lasts 24 hours, it will continually track that star for 24 hours.
How can it track it without a line of sight to it, Mark?
It'll
because it doesn't need a line of sight. It's got its azimuth and it's got the degrees where it is in the sky. That's all it needs.
So we agree it's not tracking it then. It's applying an algorithm.
Well, it is
tracking
it.
Path based on your coordinates.
Because it is tracking it because the sky's mapped out. For every
can't see it
second
anymore, so how can it
the
track
time goes, for every minute, the computer in the tracking in the mount knows where the star is in the sky, Riley. That's how it tracks.
It's not tracking it then, is it? It knows where it is, but it's not tracking
it.
Well,
it is tracking it because what? So you're saying that the stars move different every different night then?
Yeah, they're 1 degree different every night, Mark. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they are. The stars are not in the same place at 6 p.m. today as what they are tomorrow.
What?
Again, for
If
a
you,
second
if you
time,
set a scope up to track the
6
stars,
o'clock tonight,
if you
Mark,
set a
the
scope up
stars
to
are in a
track the
different
stars,
position.
there's
to what the
nothing
were
going to
in
stop
at
it
6
tracking
o'clock
the stars
yesterday,
as long as
and
the
they're in a
battery's
different
there.
position to what the stars will be
So
in
it
at
doesn't
6 o'clock
reset
tomorrow.
itself. It doesn't reset itself.
Mark,
Yeah, it does.
what happens to the telescope when the sun disappears off over the horizon?
It goes below the horizon and tracks it through the ground until it comes up on the east side.
It tracks it through the ground. Is that really what you think it's doing?
Yes.
So what's the mechanism inside the
Well,
telescope?
if it don't go below the horizon, Riley, then why doesn't the scope stop at the horizon then?
It can do. That's what it should do, because if it's
know what
tracking
the
it,
easy-
it can
you know-
see it, and it goes,
you know what the
hey,
easy-
that thing I was just tracking, I can't see it anymore. What do you want me to do?
It
And
doesn't.
should
What you
stop
think
where
it needs to see it to track it? You think the scope is actually looking at the sun? Do you think the scope's got
Right, you're
eyes?
calling tracking.
I can
So I'm
have
asking
the
you,
mount
what is the
track the sun
mechanism
without
inside the
fucking
telescope
scope
that
on it.
tracks the sun?
The
Mark?
mount tracks the sun. The mount tracks the sky, not the scope. I don't even have to have
So
a
what
scope
you
on
believe-
it for it to track the stars. So
Do
how
you
does it
believe
how
it's
does it know
actually
what it's looking
tracking
at,
the sun?
Riley?
You think there's an actual connection between the telescope and the actual
How
sun?
does
It's
it know
supposed to be
what
tracking.
it's looking at, Riley? If I take the scope off the mount and the mount's still tracking the stars, then how does it know what it's looking at to be tracking it?
Doesn't, Mark. It's following a computer program, an algorithm, nothing more.
Well, then that's my point, then, isn't it? It doesn't matter
No,
where.
your point is that it's
scope
tracking the
doesn't know it's
sun,
gone
and
below
when
the
it disappears
horizon.
over the horizon,
The
it goes
scope
under
just
your
tracks
ass
it.
and
The
comes
scope
out the
just
other
tracks
side,
it,
Mark.
Riley.
That's your point. My point is it's simply following a computer program that tells you it's going under
Well,
your
if
feet
the
when we
sun
all know
stops at the
it
horizon
doesn't
and
go
just
under your
goes
feet.
out of distance like you claim on the flat Earth, then the scope would stop at the horizon, wouldn't it? Because it's
Yeah, but if
working
it's
on a
been
computer
programmed to carry
program.
on round, Mark, it creates
So
the
it would
illusion
stop.
that the sun is passing under your feet.
Well, it is.
But how
Yeah,
do
the
you know
easy-
that, Mark, when nobody on Earth has ever been able to prove that we live on a ball?
Well, the
Shut up, you idiot.
easy proof for that would be, let's say you were tracking the sun at the equator, like in Ecuador, on the equinox. You were tracking the sun,
Yeah.
and then you had to go over the horizon,
Yeah.
and it's
What
now
would the
tracking at the
telescope then do?
ground. And then you get to the
What would the
point where it's
telescope
pointing
do?
straight down, which would be towards the what do they call that? The antipoda or whatever point, the opposite side of
Yeah.
the Earth.
Yeah.
You could call someone on the opposite side of that point,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the sun.
And they're
would
going to
be
say, yeah, I'm
at their
at high
zenith.
noon. My question is, how do you know that your telescope is, quote, tracking? The word tracking is the word I want you to focus on. Is it following a line of sight to it? Obviously, it's not, because it goes through the floor on your model. How do you know it's tracking the sun? Because I'm certain it's simply following a computer algorithm. How can you tell it's anything other? Because the
Well, it
alternative
depends
would be
on-
that
it
it swam
depends on
backwards
what
on
you
its
mean by
axis and went the way it
tracking, right?
was and
It
reset,
depends on
or
if
it went
you're gonna
round
define-
cross in
if you're
a
gonna define
lateral
tracking,
orientation
if you're
and
gonna
reset. And if it did
Yeah,
either
it'll
of them
just
two, we
it
don't live in
depends on how
one.
you're going to define the word tracking. If you're going to define it as having a visual sight on it and tracking it visually, you're not visually tracking it.
But Matt, that's the word Mark uses. So if it's not visually tracking it, how else
No,
is it
don't
tracking
lie,
it?
Riley. I said tracking it. I didn't say visually track it. I just
Right, so
told you that
explain
by
to me how
removing
it
the
tracks,
scope
Mark.
off the
Because
mount.
you
So
asserted
don't say I
that your
said visually
equatorial
tracking
mount
it.
telescope tracks the sun. I'm asking you, how does it do it?
Hold on,
Well,
before we
how
get
come,
into who's
Riley, how
asserted
come,
what.
right, when it
Hold
sets
on,
in
hold
the
on,
west-
hold on, Mark. Sorry, just want to say hello to Miles. How you doing, Miles?
Hi,
There we
Nathan.
go.
Very good to have you here.
Is that enough?
How come
If
that,
you
Mark,
know-
if I do that and the scope tracks the sun, yeah, and you say it's not tracking it, how come that when the sun rises in the east, the scope's pointing exactly at the sun?
If you know an object's speed and direction, you don't need a visual on it to track it.
It's followed a given path, Mark. The path.
Well,
is
how
not
can it
being
be?
tracked.
If it's not tracking it, Riley? How can the scope be exactly at the right place where the sun rises? And when you look through the eyepiece, you're looking exactly at the sun.
It's called an algorithm.
If that
Mark. You
algorithm's
program it
wrong,
in.
like you claim
Yeah,
it is,
we
then
know.
how can that be?
We know what the sun is going to do when it rises. We know where
No,
it's going to
not me,
rise
the
and where it's going to
scope. I
set
don't
because
have
it's
to
a
touch
pattern.
the scope.
Right.
I can
We
walk
know
away from
the
the scope.
motion. We already know the motion, so we don't need to We don't need to visually track it to create a device that will always stay pointed on it.
We know the motion, so we don't need to track it. So I'm asking you, how can you
Well,
prove
so
it's
how can
tracking
it
the
be
sun?
right
And the
then?
answer
If
is you
you're
can't.
saying that the scope's just following an algorithm that you claim is wrong because the sun doesn't go below the horizon.
No, I'm
then
claiming
how
you
come
can't prove it's
when
tracking
the
the sun.
sun
Your
rises,
claim
the
was
scope
that your
is
telescope
exactly
tracks the
pointing
sun.
at the sun?
I'm asking you how you know that's to be true, and you can't prove it because we've
I've
just
fucking done
established
it,
it doesn't track it.
fucking idiot. Oh, shit, I better leave.
So
I've just
how
sworn
do you
twice.
know it's tracking the sun, or is it simply following an algorithm?
Well, the algorithm's obviously right if you look in the same direction and there's the sun.
Of course it's right. We know what the patterns of the sun is. So you can just apply it to the
Well, you
telescope
don't,
and
because
therefore
you say
hey,
it don't
you live on
go
a
below
ball.
the horizon. So if they're using an algorithm that
Yeah.
says the sun's going below the horizon, then it wouldn't still be there in the morning, would it? It'd be completely off because you say the sun doesn't go below the horizon.
It'd be in exactly the right place because we know the pattern of the sun.
No, it wouldn't. How would it?
Epistemology's just said
If
it.
it's following an algorithm that goes below the horizon, but you're saying the sun doesn't go below the horizon, that means that algorithm's wrong. So if the algorithm's
No, it just
wrong,
means that the telescope's
morning,
resetting
when
itself.
the sun rises, your
the set
scope will not be
parameters.
pointing at it.
No, it's just resetting itself like windscreen wipers, Mark.
It doesn't reset itself.
Of course it does. How does the sun rise the next day on your telescope if it doesn't
my
reset itself?
God. Oh my
Mark,
God!
you
How
can't
can
prove
you
that
be
your
this
telescope's
stupid,
tracking
Riley?
the sun. It's following a
What
program,
scope
and
have
that's
you
all.
got?
That's
What
why
telescope
you have to
mount
put
have
in
you
your
got,
exact
Riley? What
location in
telescope
regards to
mount have you got?
WGS84, and when you do that, it knows where you are.
What telescope
Not that
mount have you got, Riley?
Pardon?
What telescope mount have you got?
What's that got to do with anything?
I would actually quite like to know what
you
Mark's
claim
got.
to have
'Cause
knowledge of telescope mounts.
Mark, you
saying
do
they
have
reset
knowledge,
No, I
though, don't
don't.
you?
So I'm
Mark,
asking
No,
you what
Mark.
telescope
I don't
mount
Mark,
you've
Mark,
got.
Mark, we've had a conversation before, and my understanding is that you do have very good knowledge of telescopes and how to use them. Tell us, or tell everybody, what your experience is. Why do you always make these assertions about things like scopes?
Because he's clearly wrong. He's claiming knowledge of telescope mounts, which he has not got no knowledge of
I'm not.
telescope mounts.
No, I'm not claiming any knowledge.
They
of
do not
telescopes.
reset themselves.
I'm applying.
They continually
I'm
track.
applying
If I
critical
had a
thinking to
battery that
your
would last,
assertion
if I
that
had
the
a battery that
telescope
would
is
last
tracking the
whole
sun,
12
and we
months,
know a
and I
telescope
just
can't
set
track
the
the sun,
scope
Mark,
off in
because
my
when it goes out
garden,
of sight,
the
the
scope
sun
would
disappears.
continually track for 12 months, Nathan. It doesn't reset itself. It just would continually track.
Mate, but you can't
Nothing
prove it's tracking
resets
it, can you?
itself at all. What he's talking is utter rubbish. The reason I keep asking him what mount he's got, for someone to have knowledge about stuff, then they have either got to have that mount themselves, or they've at least got to have used one, which he clearly hasn't. So where's he getting
Well,
his
what happens
knowledge
if somebody
from?
just applies logic and reason to the assertion that you're making and starts asking you to prove it? I mean, Tim claims that logic and reason is a credible line of inquiry. So if I apply that line of inquiry to your assertion, well, why is that a problem? Why does it require having foreknowledge
It's not
on
a
the
surgeon.
telescope?
It's not a surgeon. Anyone with a mount knows that. See, because you haven't got a mount, that's why you keep saying stupid things, right?
Oh, so you're happy that I've got a telescope, but you don't think I've got something to sit the telescope on?
Here's the part that makes no sense, Anthony. We
Ding,
do
ding.
acknowledge that the equatorial mount does perfect sidereal tracking.
Yeah.
Through the visible
No,
time when the object is within the visual field, right? When it's above the horizon, it does perfectly track that item from one horizon to the other, right?
Let me rephrase
Based on
my
the
position.
principle of us being on a spinning Earth.
I'm going to change my position because my last answer was wrong. It was to do with the last word you used, which was tracking. Right? We have tracking devices. We have eye trackers. We have trackers that work on like GPS coordinates and stuff like that. Them trackers are actively tracking your position and movement. But that type of system tracking, whatever system that you claim is in a telescope that tracks the sun, I claim doesn't exist. Now, I accept that it moves with regard to the sun accurately, but I don't accept that it tracks the sun because it doesn't. There's no mechanism for tracking it. Because if there was a mechanism for tracking it, it would stop at the horizon and then not know what to do. It's simply following
So it's a
an
matter of
algorithm, nothing
semantics,
more.
isn't it, Anthony?
You seem to be mistaken what tracking means.
Why would it stop at the horizon?
You know what's so funny about your point there, Anthony, is it's actually defeating to the flat Earth, because what it tells us is that we can build a contraption that will accurately track an object based on its motion, not based on where it is visually. Because if it was visually tracking it, you wouldn't need to understand what the mechanics of its motion are, right? Because you're just visually tracking it. It doesn't matter what the mechanics
Here's
of its motion
how
are.
we can prove that it's not tracking it.
But in this device, there is no actual.
Here's how we can prove that it's not tracking it. We can put in its
because we
location
understand
as a different set of
You don't need a
coordinates
line
based
of
on
sight to
WGS.
track something. That's nonsense.
Here's how we can prove that it's not tracking it. We can put in different GPS coordinates for where it thinks that we are, and then guess what? It ain't going to track the sun. So how does that
Yes,
work
it
if
will.
it is actually
Yes, it
tracking the
will.
sun? Because GPS coordinates wouldn't make any difference then, would it?
How do you
The
even
answer
get
would be no.
GPS from satellites that are orbiting? So like,
Oh, epistemology, you've got a mount. You've got an equatorial mount, haven't you?
Yeah, I got an LXD75.
So what's your equatorial settings? Because mine's 50 degrees. So what's your latitude?
I'm at 34 degrees.
See, so that's completely different. So why are they completely different, Riley?
Because he's in a different part of the world on WGS84, Mark.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
why
like
would
this.
it have to be
Riley-
different? If it didn't drop 1 degree every 69 miles, like we're claiming, why would it have to be different?
What has the dropping of 1 degree every 69 miles got to do with this conversation? Absolutely nothing.
Because
It's a
polarity
red
is
herring.
Impossible on a flat
Position.
plane. It's impossible on a flat plane. The math for that only works on
Don't
a
be
curved
ridiculous.
surface.
Of course it's possible.
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
We can,
Go ahead, draw it
we
out
can
on a
still
piece
have
of
a
paper and do the
celestial sphere
tangents of
over a flat
triangles.
plane.
Draw it out on a piece of
And
paper.
given that nobody's
Draw it on a piece of
and given
paper
that
and make it
nobody's
work.
produced
Show me the
evidence to
math.
prove that it
And
does
and
move
so
by
to
1
make it
degree
work,
every 69
you
miles,
could enter
I'm
Wolfie's
calling BS.
competition and win yourself a drone.
See, this is what's so annoying, Riley. You've got no confidence in these things you're talking about. You say stupid things
Oh,
like it's not checking it because it resets itself. When it doesn't reset itself, it's
Yeah,
got
it does
no
reset
visual
itself,
way to
Mark. That's
track
exactly what
anything.
it does.
It tracks it because the stars and the sun and all the positions of the stars have been known for
All right.
centuries.
So, do you remember how gyroscopes are claimed to correct for the curvature of the Earth when they're in a
Here we go.
plane, and then
Change
when
the
you strip them
subject,
down
eh?
and you find that there is no
Change the
mechanism
subject,
whatsoever to correct for the curvature of the Earth?
Change the
Then
subject,
I asked the question: what mechanism is inside the telescope mount that tracks the sun that it cannot see? What is the tracking device that it uses?
It doesn't need to see it, right?
Yeah, it basically what it really does is it's got basically it has a mechanical layout that matches the motion of the objects, of the celestial objects, based on the fact that we're on a sphere. And that these objects
We are coming up on 1 hour left on this live stream. If you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, but most importantly, if you would like to join the panel to express your views on the shape of the Earth, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link below this video. If you do join the Hangout, there are a couple of rules. Number 1, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. No spam in the chat, please. And with that, I'll say one last time, if you're new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
But Anthony's right. The mount is just following an algorithm. But the point is that algorithm is based on the Earth being a sphere and the sun, the Earth orbiting the sun and rotating on its axis. There's no algorithm that will work that's based on a flat Earth.
It could be based on any shape object. As long as it's following an algorithm, it could be on a curly whirly and it would follow the algorithm. The algorithm does not denote whether it's a presupposition or otherwise anything to do with the shape. It's known patterns and it follows the patterns that it
mount
knows.
is designed around the fact that we're on a spherical Earth.
Right. Right. If I get a handkerchief and I lay a handkerchief over any shaped object, so long as the handkerchief is in touch with that contact, in touch with that object at all points, and it doesn't overlap anywhere, you could tell that handkerchief, as it's an overlay, you could tell that handkerchief it's over any shape object. But so long as the handkerchief is mapped correctly, you will believe that you're on any shape that you want. It could be flat, it could be donut shape, well, maybe not a donut shape, but as long as that handkerchief, in other words, WGS84, as long as that's laid over the object, then it doesn't matter what you're on. The algorithm will always work.
Any object in the sky shifts 1 degree every 69 miles that you travel north or south. That cannot happen on a flat plane. Do the math on it. I can draw it out. I already did. I have a thing on my Google
Right, and
Plus.
do you know what I got told as well? Cara told epistemology.
Well
Cara told me that a vernal equinox would always rise due east and set due west directly on a equinox. And guess what? When she modelled it on Celestia, it didn't do it. When I pointed it out to her, she simply dismissed it, did not address it, and her own assertion claimed. Failed.
I don't know the details of that particular interaction with Kara. but that's irrelevant to the fact that it does rise east and west everywhere on the Earth.
She claimed that on the
How many
equinox that
degrees
the
of
sun would
east was it,
always
Riley?
Rise east
rise
and set
directly.
due west for everyone on the Earth on the equinox, I mean to say.
How many
Yeah,
degrees of
and
east was
when
it,
she modelled
Riley?
it on her model, it didn't do it.
How many degrees of east was it, Riley?
It doesn't matter. 1 degree on Celestia is a lot by the time that light gets to and from the sun.
It does.
No, it doesn't, Mark. Her claim was that it rises and
Riley,
sets
you claim,
directly,
right, that
and it didn't do
you've
it.
got Riley, is your claim? I heard you say a little while ago that you said there's no evidence for actual rotation, didn't you?
Yeah, there's no evidence for axial. There's no evidence that proves axial rotation. Correct.
All right, can I just read this to everyone? It's a quote from Anthony Riley's Facebook page. It says, "Serious question, only aimed at flat earthers, no ball earthers, please. We live on a plane. Why do the stars strongly support a polar axis up top and down below? We see Polaris and time-lapse shows concentric circles, but we see the same from the south, just with a pole star. This strongly supports axial rotation and therefore ball earth. It's the biggest proof of the ball I've ever found. It's also the only one I've found, but intelligent replies only, please." So why are you acknowledging actual rotation there and denying it here, Riley?
Mark, how many intelligent replies were there in that comment?
Riley, answer the question. Why are you denying it here, but you accept it there?
I am. How many intelligent replies were there on that request?
So you found evidence and you're denying the evidence now then? So just to clarify for the audience, you
None.
heard it here. Riley found evidence
for the benefit of the audience,
rotation,
there was nobody
but now
on the
he's
Facebook
denying
feed
the actual
that gave that
rotation.
information.
So once again, Riley's proven to be a liar.
Wow.
I'm happy.
Thank you.
I'm happy that the stars support the rotation of the Earth,
Wow.
and I'm happy that the stars support the shape of the Earth.
You're done, dude.
I'll
You're
link
such
to
an
that.
intellectual
However-
fraud, dude.
Yeah, I'll link to that.
Seriously.
I'll
However,
link to that, Tim. I'll
it
send you
doesn't
a
prove it, does it?
So you can have a look
It
at it.
simply supports it.
Big shout out to Lottie for the super chat. Thanks a million.
Do you remember that, Mark? Did you read that word out correctly? Because you
Maybe
did
you-
say the word support, but didn't say the word proves.
Mate, yes, you did. You said proof a few times, and I'm going to link it to
Read
Tim.
it again.
He can screen share it. Well, he's gone anyway, but I'm going to link it to Tim so he can see your dishonesty.
Read it again.
Anyone
Just
else
put it in
who
the
wants it?
podcast.
Anyone
Don't
else
see
who
it.
want me to read it again?
Yeah.
You really
Just the
want me to
part
read
where it
again?
says supports.
All right then. Serious question only aimed at flat earthers, no ball earthers, please. If we live on a plane, why do the stars strongly support a polar axis up top and down below? We
There you
see
go.
Polaris and
There you go.
time-lapse show
Strongly
concentric
support.
circles, but we see the same from south, just without a pole star. This strongly supports actual rotation and therefore
There you
ball
go.
earth. It's the biggest
It
proof.
does.
I
It does. I
emphasise the
agree.
word
It
proof.
strongly supports
The
axial
biggest
rotation,
proof for
but it
ball
doesn't
earth
prove
I've
it, does
found.
it?
It also the only one I've found, but intelligent replies only, please.
Yeah, and there
You
was
didn't get
no intelligent replies,
because
and
you
I did
asked
say
for
the
flat
word
earthers
supports.
only, didn't you? You asked for flat earthers only, and we all know flat earthers aren't intelligent. That's why you didn't get none.
I also said it strongly supports, Mark, but notice I didn't say proves. That's a key
You
word.
did
That,
say
but I'm not
prove.
allowed to be semantical. Only Jeremy's allowed to be
You did
semantical.
say
When I'm being
prove. Do you want
semantical
me to read
and
it
applying the
again where you
correct
said
meaning
proof?
of words, I
Anthony,
am being
what do you
semantical.
mean
But
by
when
proof?
Jeremy does it, that's considered to be honest.
What do you mean by
So is
proof?
it the same case now that I'm not allowed to say that it supports axial rotation because it actually does support axial rotation but not prove? Is it the case
I
that
have
you're
something
allowed to
else
be
for you,
semantical
Anthony. I'd
because
like
it's
you to
honest?
explain for me.
But when I'm being semantical
Anthony.
and pointing out that it doesn't say the word prove, that in somehow is being dishonest.
Anthony, I have something for you to explain for me. Here's a military
Hang
document.
on, I'd really like Mark to answer
Hold
the
on a
question, to be honest.
Been joined by Arwin. How you doing, Arwin?
Hey, Nathan.
Good
Hello.
to have you here.
Yeah, doing great.
Hello, Arwen.
Hello, Pete. And hello, Anthony there on Skype.
So come on then, epistemology. What can I do for you?
Okay, I posted a link there in the side chat, which is actually a military document that's got the ballistic firing tables for artillery. If you go to page 102, you've got something titled Corrections to Azimuth and Mills to Compensate for the Rotation of the Earth, which means that this is a table that has
Seriously
been
gonna
used by
argue
the
Coriolis?
military for
Yeah,
aiming
one more
artillery to make
sergeant
sure that
had
it correctly
somebody
hits its targets.
from the military that said that they didn't actually use that. So it was actually working
Who are
there.
you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about, Arwen.
Okay.
This is
so
a document
if
that the military uses or used. There's an older document. Now there's firing computers in these modern tanks and stuff, so the tank commanders may actually even be unaware that this math is being done because the firing computer will automatically put all these corrections in. But in the 60s, they had to do it manually. They had to do these manual firing tables. And I don't know why it exists in this, because the objective of the military, right, is to hit their target. Why would they have a correction there for the rotation of the Earth if that wasn't real?
So if I showed you a missile instructor from the US Navy that admits and accepts that they do not account for the rotation or the curvature of the Earth in any sense whatsoever with the trajectile missiles, would you agree that that would contradict the side chat thing that you've just put in the side chat?
No, it wouldn't.
Been joined by the Rumpus. How you doing, the Rumpus? Good to have you here.
Oh, just recovering from a cold at the moment, but not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, air-to-air missiles, right? Which will do either visual radar or heat tracking, are actively tracking the object on launch. They don't need to account for the Earth's rotation because they're just actively tracking and actively steering towards a target, right?
So if I gave you evidence that was contrary to that position,
so I would be very interested to see that, because that's something that would have to account for that.
Okay, so in the what's it called, the Skype chat I've left on the side chat for Nathan, it's an interview that Mark Sargent had with a US Navy missile instructor.
We can't confirm that guy's credentials, right?
Openly that just at no point do they account for the rotation or the curvature of the Earth at any point in the calculations for the trajectile of the shells. Now, I would assert that contradicts your evidence and therefore creates nothing but confusion.
First of all,
Thank you,
modern
Anthony.
tank
That's exactly what I
right? Because modern tanks have computers that will automatically do all the calculations for you. You're not manually calculating.
Sure.
You're not manually calculating the ballistics, right? There's a
so what you're asking me to accept is mathematics to prove the curvature of the Coriolis of the Earth. Really? Are you really asking me to accept mathematics, independent, automated mathematics, to prove that we live on a ball? Is that what you're asking me to accept?
No, but he's even wrong at that, because it's only the newest computerized systems that actually do that, so-called. The still manual old systems don't. So.
So the guy you're talking about, sorry to interrupt, guys. The guy you just said has no can't verify his credentials. He literally made a video of him flying into the ship he worked on and then going into I think it was like the missile room, somewhere very, very restricted, and then writing on the back of a napkin, Mark Sargent, to verify that he was absolutely flying into that ship to do his job. So I don't know about saying he's got no credentials verified. I would say that's absolutely certain that he is what he is. But there we go.
Wait, do we need to verify what his actual occupation was, not just that he was...
Well, he went into the room that he actually works in, wrote on a napkin Mark Sargent after having a little look around. Anyway, we've been joined by Lottie. How you doing, Lottie says?
Yeah, but he doesn't know how it works.
Hold on, Rumpus. How you doing, Lottie? Can you hear us?
Hi, Nathan. Sorry I'm late for work.
No worries. Good to have you here.
It's just really funny, the Flat Earth want to accept one piece of evidence and ignore the other millions that go against the argument, but they accept the one piece that goes with it.
The assertion was that trajectories from the US navies and US armies calculate for Coriolis effect, and I've just produced evidence that contradicts that, and it's a blatant contradiction. And I've asked, is it a contradiction or not?
Absolutely not. All you've done is to say someone in a room doesn't do the calculations themselves because they've got a piece of software to do. All they do is they say, here's the target, point that the goddamn thing. The computer says, okay, I'll do the best I can, and they press a button. They have no idea what's going on in there, how that works.
A bit like an equatorial mount.
That is not.
But if you go to a sniper video, there are numerous sniper videos on YouTube, and I've got a link here for one, about people who actually have to do it themselves. And there's a whole series of tables and things they use. And there's an ex-army guy describing exactly what it does to do it. And I've done the calculations myself.
Rumpus, I need to correct the record because you're clearly not going to. I did not say
the Coriolis effect. It's a well-known thing.
Rumpus.
And it's
I
not
did
like an
not say
ectorial
that the
mount,
maths were
Nathan,
being
because people
calculated
built
by
their
the
own
computer,
ectorial
therefore the
mount,
guy
so
did not
once
need to do
again,
it.
you don't know
What I
you're
said
talking
was, in direct contradiction to the claim that that epistemology made, that was weapons are now fired, taking into account the rotation of the Earth, I cited evidence that was directly contrasting from that position, and I'm suggesting that creates confusion.
What evidence? What evidence? That you know someone in a ship
You
that
know
fires
someone who
missiles.
knows someone who knows someone who knows.
Well, no, I mean it's fine, but hit the guy. They've removed that calculation from what they have to do now. Just like when you're flying a Typhoon aircraft, you have a computer.
How does that differ to the application of the ectorial mount for a telescope?
So we're not talking about telescope. We're talking about Coriolis effect and snipers and things and firing shells, aren't we?
It's the same. It's the same principle with trajectory missiles these days. They're using computers to do all the calculations for you.
Got nothing to do with this.
I'm citing evidence that
you
shows that somebody
you have
that
to
fires
remember,
shells.
missiles are guided, powered objects. They're not following ballistic trajectories.
Correct.
Yeah. So therefore, it doesn't have anything to do with the rotation of the Earth if it's being guided by some kind of system.
Hold on, we're talking about shells. I thought we were talking about shells and snipers.
We're talking about shells. We're talking about artillery. We're not talking about
artillery.
missiles.
Right. Yeah. We're not talking about missiles, and we're not talking about telescopes. We're talking about snipers.
Epistemology's original assertion was that people in the army were firing weapons and allowing for the rotation of the Earth. And I'm saying I've got evidence that contradicts that position because they're not.
I specifically said cannons.
If you're a sniper, you do have to do that.
Sorry, epistemology, just clarify what you just said.
I said cannons. I didn't just say weapons in general, right? I said
all right.
cannons.
Well, I'm not sure we still use cannons.
Hold on, Anthony. Let's hear him repeat it.
Yeah, we still do. But there are different types.
I don't think we still use cannons. Is there
I
any
didn't hear
evidence
any
of
of that.
cannons?
Sorry, hold on. I didn't hear any of that. Can I just hear it again from epistemology? Because it was, specifically asked to be repeated, and then we didn't get to say it.
No, I'm just saying, the table that I was referring to is about artillery. It's about firing cannons, which are following ballistic trajectories. They're not, once they leave the barrel, they're not guided in any way. You have to point them towards the right direction.
And again, I make my point that I don't know whether Nathan's shared it in the side chat or not. I have asked him to do it. So if he hasn't done it, if Nathan would kindly provide it so that I can say that it's been produced. I've produced evidence that's contradictory to that from a US Navy missile instructor that fires manual rounds. He does not use electronics. And he admits, accepts, and proves that he does not do any calculations for the rotation of the curvature of the Earth. So now what I assert is that we are now confused.
You produced a missile, Riley.
I mean, epistemology is talking about artillery, and I'm talking about artillery and snipers, and you bring up such missiles, which are powered items which direct themselves all the time.
He fires
so they don't have to
shells
worry
out
about the
of his...
Coriolis effect, just like a pilot in an airplane doesn't have to either.
He started off
He fires
2018,
shells,
he finished
artillery shells that are
2017.
effectively like cannons. There is no calculation.
Missile instructors can actually fire cannons, It's not just a one-note job.
This guy fires artillery shells, which are effectively cannons. They're the same thing. So if you're claiming that they calculate for the rotation or curvature of the Earth, I'm calling BS because this guy says they don't.
Sorry, is he a missile chap or is he an artillery chap? Which is it?
He's both.
He's a missile instructor, but he also fires artillery.
A modern tank has a weather station and a firing computer. It's got a weather station on the roof of the tank and a firing computer that does all the math for you.
Exactly.
Right. So in that case, it's not following the curvature or the rotation of the Earth. It's doing all
but if you're a sniper in the field, you do have to do it because you haven't got a computer with you, and you have to do all the stuff yourself.
And if you've got an ice cream and I've got an ice cream, how many ice creams have we got?
Oh, shut up.
You're an idiot if you think that. Is any way an argument? All philosophical arguments start with
guys. Sorry to interrupt.
If I say to you,
only the ones that are on the ball side of the propaganda.
In Scotland,
everybody else
and
just fires the gun.
Next to Edinburgh, how far is it to Glasgow? You don't then say, "I'm not it." It's a hypothetical. You're presenting a hypothetical situation for them to consider. If you think that that's some clever way of getting out of it, you're an absolute... Well, we know you're an idiot, but you're an absolute idiot if you think that is in any way an argument.
Rumpus,
you don't think snipers have
real weapons?
Little computers.
You think they're doing the math?
Well, they do have a little computer with them. No, they're not writing
with a pen and a pencil.
No, I don't. But I'm just saying they have to do something that's doing the computer in front of them. They're not. The rifle doesn't do it for them. They have to have either someone next to them who's or putting it in.
I can confirm this because if you're shooting over a mile and a half, you have to take it in, or you will miss the target.
You can't confirm anything.
Correct,
Tim. You take a rhetorical position. You can't confirm anything.
No, I actually have pictures and I have video of me talking to a sniper instructor at my ranch. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, and I have pictures.
So I can post that if you like.
That doesn't mean we live on
someone
a ball.
who actually does it.
Yes.
There we go.
I have pictures of
and I've got
Earth
a video
from
I've got
space,
a link to,
but
which
that
is a
doesn't prove we live
fantastic
on a
video I
ball.
could share, which shows a sniper doing exactly this, the long-range shots and all the tables and things he's had to consider, all the Coriolis corrections. He does it with pencil and paper, but a lot of it in the field, they have these little computers with the sniper instructor, or because with snipers, they have someone who's doing the shooting and someone else is doing the targeting and saying, okay, you hit this or that.
Exactly. And if you listen to the link that I gave you from the US Navy missile instructor that I posted in the side chat, or Nathan did on my behalf, he clearly states there is no correction, adjustment, or change for the rotation or the curvature of the Earth. If he accounted for it, he would miss his target.
Riley, don't you get it?
Yeah, I get it, Mark. I get it, Mark. These are all assertions without any evidence whatsoever. But when I produce evidence, it's not accepted. But when you guys make baseless assertions,
Anthony, do we have to say it's a ballistic trajectory without power?
So yeah,
Mark,
the only time
this is relevant. So that's with snipers, sniper rifles, artillery, tanks, or anything else that dispenses a projectile that's not powered, that doesn't steer itself. That's a situation you have to worry about. In all other situations with powered, steered, manually, aeroplanes, anything like that, you do not have to worry about it.
Yes, and that guy in that video that I've linked says that they do not make any adjustments for the calculation of the trajectory based on the rotation or the curvature of the Earth. It does not happen.
And by the way, all of these systems, all these modernized systems, all these computers making these calculations for you, there is a manual mode because electronics can actually malfunction.
So that the people that rely on that document will miss their target. What is the purpose of that table being in there?
It's called propaganda. It's to make people that don't have any clue believe it's something that doesn't exist.
You utter idiot.
Well, the people that actually do the work say that they do not account for that at all.
We've got a guy
because there's a document,
in the
it doesn't mean it is
does
the
this,
practice.
has done this
We have
professionally.
practices for everything. It doesn't mean that they're done. So the value of the document is pretty much zero unless somebody says that they actually do it, and there is nobody that says that.
You should be banned for going on the net, Riley. You know, you should be allowed on the internet for being so stupid.
So Anthony, tell me, is everybody in the army told, tank commanders and so on, told just ignore the documents because that's just propaganda?
I don't know what they're told. I'm not in the army.
But you're claiming that's just propaganda. So what?
I'm not claiming anything. I'm claiming that there is somebody in the army that says there is no adjustment made for the rotation or the axial, the curvature of the Earth.
Missile instructor that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Train the soldiers,
and even if he wasn't firing, he was as
in
a
the field.
says, even if he were firing a shell
just have
from
this
a piece of
manual.
artillery, that all the corrections now, all done for you, that he knows its GPS coordinates of the gun, you tell it the GPS coordinates of the target, it works out the corridor,
and as we
you just have to
pointed out with
decide what the target is and you press the button go.
The equatorial mount is not doing anything other than following a computer algorithm, in which case we could live on a hexagon, because you would not know.
Oh, you utter fool.
Yeah, but the algorithm is based on a sphere, that's the point. And the same with the telescope.
How do you know it's based on a sphere?
How we got here. If they were based on a flat sphere, it wouldn't work. They wouldn't follow.
How do you know it's based on a
rectangular looping?
Yeah, but come on now, we've got to give it to Riley.
Rectangular looping is connected like a tube.
I'd be more inclined to agree with Arwin's rectangular looping connecting via a tube except that it was on a ball. I'd be more inclined to agree with Arwin's representation of a looping rectangular tube on a ball or whatever it was. Except that we live on a ball because a computer does it for us. Don't be ridiculous. That is improving anything.
I have theorized that if it is rectangular looping, then maybe how the land masses, the separate Earth-type areas are connected to each other could be represented as a chain of beads, that it gets smaller near the anti-equators. So that's also a possibility. It doesn't have to be a straight rectangle.
It's just gibberish. You might as well have just said you believe in fairies. I mean, that was just utter gibberish.
It's the same gibberish that you're
I bet Riley knows about bees.
It's all about non-linear spatiality.
How is Arwin's gibberish any less than your gibberish?
Well, I can do the maths. I can show. We've got a model of the Earth. I can show you what we've done in practice.
Wow,
They had trials on sea trials in the First World War. They built these analog computers to do this very thing. We've got evidence. All the military manuals are. We've got a chap who actually does it in real life. We've got. You look at any documentation on ships firing, you'll find this. I mean, this is an established fact.
Rumpus. Maths doesn't prove anything other than the maths works.
It's done in real world. In the First World War, they had to do this correction to make
real about maths.
Other ships
it's simply
really squeaky.
They had to do that.
Getting
Rumpus, it's only maths. It doesn't prove anything, Rumpus. It just proves that the sum of the equation.
If done an IQ test on you, I'm sure we'd show you an idiot.
They do firing tests, you know, over great distances at sea to establish the accuracy of what their firing computers. And so obviously they test this against real life.
The curvature or the rotation of the Earth. Don't be ridiculous.
They do that. That's exactly what they do. They say that they'll take a target that's 20 miles away.
They'll get nothing to do with the rotation of the Earth.
They'll sit and see if they can hit the target. And that system has to allow for Coriolis.
Anybody wants to know? Go to Strange World 21. Mark Sargent. He talks with a US missile instructor from the US Navy, and he confirms that they do not account for in any way, shape, or form rotation or
it's a missile. It doesn't have to.
Refraction, optical.
They account for refraction.
Yes, that's what they account for when they aim.
Do you
correct. They
understand,
account for the wind,
Anthony,
they account for refraction, they account for anything that looks like it might affect it, but they don't account for curvature because they can't see any curvature to correct for.
Of course, they can see it all the time. You can see it yourself.
No, they can't. Nobody can see it because we're all trying to find it, and nobody's finding it.
What are you talking about? You showed pictures of curvature, Riley. What are you talking about?
Did you ever play hide and seek?
Pictures of an emperor wearing new clothes, Mark. Do you like his clothes?
He plays hide the sausage with Randy.
I also show
just
pictures
go out
of the
to
emperor.
The sea and look at a ship go underneath the horizon. You'll see it there. You can do it yourself.
Yeah,
no, apparently we can't do it ourselves. It's too difficult for us to determine. But I tell you what we can do. We can go over to Lake Pontchartrain. We can see loads of curvature there on 16 miles worth of observation, can't we?
You know, like that article I read earlier from his Facebook where he admits actual rotation, but now he's denying.
By the way, I think I've established what height Anthony was at in his Isle of Man thing at St. Bees.
Oh, I wonder if you've got the same figure as me.
Oh right, okay. Well, I could. I've got a little presentation on this as part of will be my comprehensive presentation.
A little presentation. I'm going to go for a bath. I'll be back in about 20 minutes. I look forward to seeing all your refraction maths where you don't tell us anything about the light bending up.
I know you're not. Why you do that.
Scrub the globe of Anthony.
Okay. I hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far. I certainly am. Glad to be running as we were before. Bring the camera onto me. We have approximately 30 minutes left on this broadcast, so if you are new to the channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, as Fanny Lancer and Charlotte, get the name correct this time, have done so, hit that super chat. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate with the page you are currently listening to me on muted, simply click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number one, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, but if you are, please don't try to rejoin the show using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. In a moment, I'm going to transition across back to the action, but I would encourage everybody who is watching this to please share the show, as sharing obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there is about 30 minutes left on this live stream.
So Anthony Riley is in the bath. I suspect he looks something like this right now.
That's a wild birthing pool.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Pete.
Unfortunately, my system.
Well, Nathan, you're not going to be live streaming him in the bath, are you?
Not going to be live streaming what? Sorry?
You're not going to be live streaming Riley in the bath, are you?
I just literally just did that because that's what PMAR's just brought up. So yeah,
no,
unfortunately for the audience, I have to apologise and say, yeah, we have just streamed Riley in the bath.
Just want to be clear.
I hope he's checking to see if the water's level.
You know, it won't be level when he gets in it. Going to be a tsunami somewhere in Wigan.
Hi, Nathan.
From experience, Mark.
Hello, whoever joined temporarily, just to say hello. Good to have you,
Paul.
whoever you are.
Sorry, did the wizard say something?
Can you hear me, Nathan?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh, right, you're coming from the Skype chat. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say hello to Rumpus to let him know that we were going to do the observations in the Isle of Man for them.
Yes, it's I'm sorry, I'm having a bit of a problem. My computer is right. Yeah, who's saying that? Was that Miles' colleague?
Paul.
Colleague of Miles saying. Sorry, who's talking to me?
This is Paul.
Idea. Not me.
Because I thought Miles was going to do some observations in the Isle of Man, and so who's talking to me?
That is the plan. I haven't done them yet.
Right. So who's talking to me about observations of Isle of Man?
Me.
Oh,
Paul.
yeah. Sorry, who are you?
I live in the Isle of Man.
Oh, you live in the Isle of Man. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
right.
I live in the Isle of Man, and I've been watching the last 20 episodes since episode 77.
and
obviously, I'd like to get involved and do the P900 observations from the Isle of Man, and collaborate with Riley and yourselves to make sure we get the everything that you would consider requisite for doing the correct test.
I'm going to be down on the English coast taking some pictures over the course of the weekend. And it would be great if you had somebody on the Isle of Man with a flashlight.
Right, we're not available this weekend. Me and my friend have both got work this weekend and the weekend after, so we were going to arrange with Anthony Riley. Excuse me.
I wouldn't if I were you.
Just to take pictures and images with the P900 on the same day that Riley does them.
Yeah,
from the south of the island up to all the way up to the north, and maybe try and find some way of identifying from your side how we can distinguish where the island actually ends.
Oh well,
each side.
I think I've got a pretty cast iron way of doing that, but we'll see how it works.
Is it maths
this weekend?
Let me guess. Is it maths, Miles?
Oh, thought you were in the bath. No, it's nothing to do with mathematics.
No, I am running the bath. The minute Rompus starts talking about refraction, I'll be in.
You're in the bath, continuing the stream. We know.
No, I'm not in the bath yet. I'm running the bath.
Yeah, you are. Come on.
I'm not. Seriously, I'm sat at the computer waiting
splash
for Rumpus
the water.
Yeah, but when Rumpus starts talking about refraction, that's when I'll get in, because I'll have at least 20 minutes to have a bath. There we go. Can you see? Not in the bath just yet. Rumpus, what I do want to ask of you, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind being a gent? And you don't have to do it live, you can do it at your own time, but I'm asking you to help me with identification of a particular item. You said at some point early on in the pixels point that you were making, calculating the pixels per degree, you said that you can identify any landmark on the island. Would you kindly tell me where the point of a lighthouse should be on the evidence that we have? I want you to tell me I want you to show it on the evidence. So you'll have to do your pixels per degrees calculation and then work it out on the evidence where the point of a lighthouse should actually be on the evidence, not on the maths.
I did something kind of using not doing it with the way that Rumpus is doing it, but I did it yesterday, just going off the geography. And let me show you what I did. Hold on. Let me add it in here.
Was it in regards to that Isle of Man, that point of a lighthouse?
Yeah, that video that we talked about the other night, where you have the floating landmass, the little floating landmasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was trying to line that up against the scale that we were working on to see where everything is in relation. Hold on.
Okay. Do you want to share your screen so we can see it?
I'm going to link it here in the green. Just give me a second.
Because what I want to try and establish, if I can, and using your maths to do it, if I can, Rumpus, is where on the evidence is the point of a lighthouse? Where should it actually be? Because we're trying to work out what is the furthest point to the far right that the Isle of Man is, so that if we can show where the land.
If you gave me the video or the stuff to the right, I could do that. I've got bearings. I've now modified my thing to give it, so it's very easy to work out bearings of things on the picture.
Well,
so
I do
go
have.
ahead and click.
I do
Go
have
ahead and
the
click
current.
my link there. Go ahead and click my link there and put it in the green. Maybe Nathan could do that for us. It's in the green.
Oh, right. I do have. Obviously, I can't add it to the chat now because I'm in the background. So Nathan might have to do it for me on my behalf. However, Ranty's done a full contrast, the whole length panorama that's put everything back together. And this is what we're using at the moment. And what I'd like to do is invite Rumpus to do the maths and tell me on the file that I've sent to Nathan on the side chat, which is called fullcontrast2.png. If he could tell me on that document that's in the side chat where the point of Air lighthouse should mathematically be. Because we know where it is based on the animation, and I want to see that we've got the animation accurate, so that if Rumpus does his maths calculations and applies it to the evidence, he should get the same area, give or take a couple of pixels. So I'm checking our own model, but I'm also checking Rumpus's maths to see do we get, because really they should collaborate successfully. They should be the same position.
That would be good to see. Just in the green chat epistemology, that's just you. That's the thing you showed me the other day.
Yeah,
but it doesn't have a screen. But it doesn't have. Well, okay, hasn't got a clear. That's just the stuff to the right. It doesn't include the stuff to the left. I need basically several frames.
I know. This was me just trying to match I was trying to match what he was seeing to the right of the main.
And is that just one frame from the video, or have you tried to compose that into more?
Yeah.
Sorry. Is it just one? It is just one frame.
Yeah, it's just the frame, just the frame screen grab.
What I need to do of it, I suppose actually it's got the. Yes, the thing is, the trouble is, I need to find out, for instance, where that white blob is in your picture, and then I need to then link.
I'll look into the GPS coordinates for that.
Right, but the only way you can give me the GPS coordinates for that is if you know how far it is to the right of the bit of the Isle of Man we can see. So I need to be able to link all the frames from the right-hand side of the Isle of Man to those islands, and then I can then put them all together and then get bearings on them.
Listen, I've sent the link into the file to Nathan. It's called fullcontrast2.png, and it's the whole panorama, all the way from the left right up to the top point. And what I'm asking is if you could show me on that full panorama based on pixels per degree where the point of Air lighthouse should be. And the reason why I'm asking it is because we've done it based on the animation, the model, and it should be the case that if we are correct and if your maths is correct, we should be able to.
So when you say the animation, what are you referring to?
We've created a model based on 3D animation. Like it's that Blender. Right. It's been all the values have been put into Blender, and it's took 4 days.
Cocked up the image you used. If you're talking about that 3D, the thing you've got the 3D modeling guy to do, you gave him that is absolutely crucial that what you gave him as an image of the composite was correct. Given the fact that on the 2 occasions I've been given images, they are being completely wrong, grossly wrong.
Okay.
He's obviously working.
So that's why I'm inviting you to take this one because it was done 3 or 4 days ago, and it's to the pixel accurate.
Where have you linked this to? Where is this image?
If Nathan's there, are you there, Nathan?
Yeah, I can't share a file in the side chat unless it's a link to like a Google Drive. I can share that, but I can't just.
No, what you do, Nathan, you download it to your computer and save it on your desktop, and then you go into the back chat where you're familiar with, and in the back chat you open up the Hangout that's there, and there's a Dropbox in the bottom of the Hangout, and you can drop it into that Dropbox, and then everybody that's in the Hangout then can see it.
No, I can't do that. If you want to do that in the Hangout, you can, but I can't.
Well, I can't. I've been sniped out of it.
Okay.
I have as well.
Well, alternatively, if someone can provide an email, I can send it as an email.
Send me a message with a link. Have you got it? If the file is on the internet somewhere, just send me either message me on YouTube, message me on G+, or message me on Hangouts. I mean, if you can get to the green chat, you must be able to get. Have you not got access to the green chat, Anthony? You can just link.
No, I've been kicked out of it. How would I find you in Hangouts? Enter name, email address, or telephone number. What do I need to put in there to find you?
Just type in the Rumpus in Google Hangouts in the conversations where it says new conversation. You could just type the Rumpus and it will find me.
How are you spelling Rumpus? Is it Pompus?
Settings have it to where you can't find you because I was trying to do that the other day, Rumpus, and I couldn't find you.
Oh, by the Rumpus. Oh, really? Okay. Oh, right.
It may be under your email address. You may have to share your
the
email
Rumpus
address.
account then. I mean, if you can't find just the Rumpus, then the Rumpus space account would do it.
The Rumpus space account.
Space account. If you can't find the Rumpus, just one word. That's not finding me. Right. Well, someone.
You have to use
It's
email.
really awkward to.
Okay, I'll give you my. Do I really want to give my email address out? That's probably not something I want to do.
Hold on. Don't give him your email address. What you can do, I'm going to go to the photos, Rumpus, right, so that nothing's displayed. If you put it in the side chat now, I'll bring it up off screen and share it with him so no one gets your email address. Does that make sense? So if you type it in the side chat, I'll just copy and paste it, and then no one else will have it.
You want me to type my email address in?
Whoever wants to share their email address to get this file, stick it in the side chat. I don't care. I'm not interested in spamming your email, but I'll just pass it on to Anthony so he can send it to you. But it means that no one can see. It's just screenshots of photos at the moment. There we go.
So you're going to pass it in through Skype?
Yeah, just give me 10 seconds.
Sure.
And then I just want to get it off screen so no one can see it. Have you got that?
Okay,
yeah,
is it off now?
Big Balls 97 at... Oh, sorry.
Have you stopped the feed then?
No. I'm just going to get it off screen so that when I go back, no one can see your email.